This right here could be a sign of bad things to come. You heard me speak about it a little bit on my previous video. You can definitely check it out. But Paul George, as I said before, he's going to have to find a way to be more efficient with his shots. If he's not that, the Clippers might not have much of a chance, or honestly, they might have to trade him because, and I know a lot of you think I'm overreacting, but hear me out, because as I said before, when you're making those bad shots, everybody praises you. But when you start missing them, you start losing games. And I'm not saying the Clippers are losing games because of Paul George. I'm not saying that. It's a collective effort. It's a team effort. I'm not saying that. But if Paul George is your second best player, or some people think, he's 1A, 1B with Kawhi, he's got to be a lot better. You got to be. I mean, when I look at that Warriors game, their reserves, their bench basically helped them win that game. They really did. So if their bench basically helped them win that game, that means that, Paul George probably had a decent matchup. Whoever he was matched up against, there's nobody on the Warriors that really can match up with him like that. Draymond's mainly going to guard Kawhi Leonard. He may switch up and guard, PG some, but he's mainly going to guard Kawhi. And a lot of these games that you look at with the Clippers, Paul George has the favorable matchup. That's why a lot of games, Paul George, a lot more, or a few more games this season, Paul George has scored more points because he had the more favorable matchup. And when you have the favorable matchup, you have to take advantage of that. And some games he did. I'm not going to say he didn't. And as I said before, I'm not putting all the blame on Paul George. But if you're the second best player, you've got to be a good decision maker. And this is why I say to win championships, it has to be a well-rounded, situation. Your first best player has got to be great. Your second best player has got to be great. And everybody else has to follow, but they got 4-star players. But still, with Kawhi and PG, they have to be great, for this team to win. And, when I think about Paul George, is he really dependable? Is he really dependable? Is he going to be dependable in the playoffs? Is he going to be dependable when they really need him? Because like I said, when you look at a lot of these games this year against the better competition, he doesn't look that great. Against the 2 games against the Nuggets they played this year already, how did he look? How did he look last night against the Warriors? You see what I'm talking about? Better competition. It seemed like the better the competition, the less he shows up. And it's been like that throughout his career. I mean, go back and look at the tape. Go back and look at, some of his Indiana days and things like that when he played, you know what I'm saying? Well, Indiana, he was pretty good. I'll say that. But, he's always been the type of player that has greatness in him. He is a great player. He is a smooth scorer. I mean, that step back jumper. The handle. Paul George got a very, very beautiful game. He really does. His game is smooth. It's awesome when he's on. But when he's off, it's like his mental goes left because he doesn't defend at a high level. It's like he's not engaged or something like that when his jump shot is not falling. Now, like I said, last night, he had 10 assists. He did contribute in other ways that can, help the Clippers. And I like that about Paul George. And if he's going to have off shooting nights, I expect him to do things like that. Go out there and get double digit assists. Go out there and get double digit rebounds. Go get some steals. You know what I'm saying? There's always something you could be doing to be productive, even though your jump shot is not falling. So I give Paul George the utmost credit for that last night against the Warriors, dishing out 10 assists and trying to find a way to be effective, even though, his jump shot wasn't falling. I just want Paul George to be a little bit more efficient with his shots. Like his buddy, Kawhi Leonard. When you watch Kawhi Leonard, it's no wasted movements. It's no wasted steps. It's no wasted anything. Kawhi makes sure he is efficient on everything he does. That's what makes him a better player than Paul George and a lot of other players in the league, because he's so efficient when he's off. When you look at a Kawhi stat line and see that he's like 6 for 20, you'd be like, oh, damn, that's crazy. You know why you say that? Because you're so used to Kawhi being so efficient. It's weird to really see him not be. But with Paul George, you're so used to him being not efficient. Sometimes it's weird to see him go on stretches where he's shooting very efficient, because it's like, oh, okay, he's shooting good right now, but how long is this going to last? That's what you say when you watch Paul George a lot. So for the people out there saying Paul George is a better player than Kawhi, you out your fucking mind. He's not a better player than Kawhi Leonard. He don't even have no championships. So you definitely can't be a better player than somebody who's done something for the league and shown the league that he's one of the elites. You see what I'm saying? So you can nip that in the bud right there. Will he have better games than Kawhi this year? Yeah, he's already had some, but it doesn't mean he's a better player because you can't win a championship with Paul George. I mean, he'll miss a free throw when you don't need him to. He'll come up short when you don't need him to. I mean, like I said, that year when Kawhi went down, that was their best chance to win a championship. Even though Kawhi got hurt, if Paul George hits those 2 free throws against the Phoenix Suns, it would have been in a game 6 or it would have been a game 7. It would have went to a game 7 more likely in that series. And who knows what happens in a game 7. You see what I'm saying? But Paul George under pressure, what happened? Pipes burst. That's the MO on Paul George. So my point is, I know he can overcome things like that, but he just really hasn't throughout his career. And this is my thing. He's a very streaky shooter. And that's the problem. That's the thing with streaky shooters. They're streaky. They have moments. They have several weeks or a couple of months in the season where they look so awesome. And it's like they're MVP caliber. But when you put them up against certain competition where they have to be at their best and they have to find a way to be the best player or one of the best players on the floor and find a way to will their team to victory somehow, that's what separates the elite players from the good ones. And that's something that Paul George really just doesn't do to me. And when I think about his bad shot taking, it really irritates me a lot of times, even when he makes them, because it's like, damn, he's not going to make that. Like when you see him go down and run down the court, and let's say he runs up and just pull up for 3 on a fast break with nobody under the basket and one guy standing in his face. I like that. I mean, I can't say I like that shot because it's going to rub off on other players on your team to do the same thing just because you do it. And, it's really not a high percentage shot. And when you miss it, remember, when you miss a 3, it goes long way. The rebound goes back further. So usually when you miss a 3 like that, the rebound's coming off long. The other team gets it. They run down, get the momentum, try to seize the momentum back and make up for the shot they probably actually missed prior to that. Now, I've seen Kawhi Leonard do it. I've seen a lot of players run down and pull up. But, I've seen Paul George do it with 1 or 2 guys in his face. I've seen Paul George run and pull up with 2 defenders in his face while there's a man standing in the corner or somebody, or a Zubac or somebody in the post trying to post up and maybe get a higher percentage shot where, more likely it'll go in. And that's my thing. When you have somebody with that mentality that plays like that, it's going to be hard to win a championship. So, that's why I said if the Clippers are going to win, their second best player has to be a lot better in ways to where he doesn't have to score more points or anything like that. He just has to be a lot more efficient, and he has to he has to understand the shots that you take, the shots that you make, the shots that you miss, all of it counts. You see what I'm saying? You have to be accountable for all of it. And I'm not saying, once again, I'm not saying that the Clippers are losing because of Paul George or lost last night's game against the Warriors because of Paul George. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying when he starts taking more high percentage shots, if he ever learns to put that in his DNA, I think the teams that he's on will go a lot further in the playoffs than what they have done in the past. And, he'll be looked at in a newfound light. But it's just, it's like I said, the James Harden thing, all this confusion, I'm not putting it all on Paul George because, like I said, James Harden could be affecting him too. And I really think James Harden is. I think Paul George plays a lot better with Russell Westbrook in the lineup. I really think he does. Honestly, I think he might actually be shooting better still if Russell Westbrook was in the starting lineup. But like I said, there always comes times with Paul George when he plays better competition, those shots just don't seem to fall. And this is the only way the Clippers are going to win is if they get that type of efficiency he does against piss poor teams. The same results that he could do with better teams, because every time he plays the Denver Nuggets, I don't see, the great Paul George. I see him struggle because the Denver Nuggets got length, they got defenders, and they got guys that can switch on you where it's like, okay, them little jump shots you taking over 2 defenders is not going to work against them because they're a championship caliber team. Try taking that shot. I've seen him before take a shot over Michael Porter Jr. and Aaron Gordon was standing like right there, damn near right next to him. And he takes a shot basically over those 2 players. I've seen him do that before, like things like that. And it's like, well, why is he doing that when you could find somebody else with the wide open shot? And this is the thing. He's got to be a lot better. If you're the second best player on the team, your decision making has got to be top notch for this team to win, because Kawhi is going to be efficient. Kawhi is going to figure out a way, and Kawhi just does things his bag is just different than everybody else's. Let's just keep it real. His bag is way different than any other players. So I'm not really worried about Kawhi Leonard. This guy's a champion. He's proved it to me more than once, and I know he can do it again if everybody around him plays their role to perfection. And honestly, like I said, I'm not blaming everything on Paul George, but the Clippers got to find a way to, go talk to James Harden and say, look, we need you to come off the bench. Because honestly, it's really affecting the team in a lot of ways that they're trying to cover up and not trying to say too much. It's just going to have to happen, because like I said, Paul George plays a lot better with Russell Westbrook in the lineup. Hell, I personally think Kawhi Leonard does too. Because like I said, they have more chemistry with him. And like I said, they understand each other better. And they came in a training camp together. And like I said, the Clippers can't afford to lose all these damn games with the West getting tougher. They're going to have to be a lot more efficient. They're going to have to learn to end games, finish games well. And they're going to have to, get a lot more aggressive on the boards and attack a lot more instead of settling for jump shots. A lot of this isolation basketball crap, take turn basketball, your turn, my turn. That's going to have to stop if they want to win. I mean, if they want to just be a team that's talented, that puts up points, that looks good on SportsCenter, okay, they'll do that. But winning a championship, you're not going to do that if you don't really figure out your stride and really put things in perspective to really make your team a lot more superior than other teams. And the only way you're going to do that is by being efficient, playing hard, boxing out, playing defense, and getting continuity. And with those things I just named, the Clippers halfway do them at times or don't do them at all at times in some games. Seem like the way they be losing in some of the pathetic losses they done had, especially the one against Denver. I still can't get over that one. But, I mean, hey, it is what it is. But, I mean, that's my point. You're playing against a team like that. There's no way you should lose a game like that. I don't care if you don't have chemistry or not, but that's my point. They got to end games well. They got to take higher percentage shots. All of them do. All of them got to understand you're here for a championship. You're not here to put up stats. I mean, all of them should have, most games around, I'd say, since James Harden's the starting lineup, Harden, Kawhi, PG need to have about 20 points apiece. And Russ can chip in about 14, 15 off the bench. They would be so much better if they were well-rounded like that. Nobody has to drop 30, 40, 50. I mean, some nights, some guy, one of the guys is going to be hot. It's just the way it is. Some nights, Kawhi, PG, one of them going to get hot and drop 35, 40. But on a consistent basis, all three of them should be around 20 plus points a game and, get 14 to 15 from Russ off the bench or flip-flop whenever they do it and, go at it that way because that's the only way the balance is going to be there and that's the only way you're going to really be able to put it all together where everybody is contributing and everybody's engaged and that's what help the Clippers start winning a lot more.